Hello girls, and welcome to the first KEF Academy of the season, of the year. It's been a while. Now, in this little 2-3 minute, 4 minute, whatever clip, I'm going to try and walk you through the main features of the final solution and the Holocaust. So in your test, your first section A response is kind of a paragraph response, an essay response, largely about the process which led up to the final solution of the Jews in World War II. All right, so I want you firstly to be really clear as to why there is this kind of long-term hatred towards the Jews from lots and lots of people, and thus explains why Hitler didn't face an awful lot of opposition. So we know, one, their undoubtedly responsibility for the killing of Christ. So there is a reason why all Christians potentially can be pushed through propaganda or whatever means into a hatred of Jewish people. Secondly, they've become disproportionately wealthy. There's not many of them, and those that are there living in any of the European countries, be it Germany or Austria or Poland or Russia, wherever they have become more powerful than their number would generally expect, right? So there aren't many Jews in Europe, and those that have made successful businesses and successful banking careers, that they have achieved great wealth. So there's an element of jealousy, and as we know, in Germany it all turned bad. The economy's gone bad. There's been a massive unemployment, the crash, the depression. People are looking for groups to blame. The Jews fit that criteria. So when Hitler's elected us to be the Chancellor in 1933, he makes a really clear and distinct decision. He wants to start persecuting Jewish people. He doesn't have a clear path to the gas chambers. He doesn't have a plan. Hitler wasn't a planner. He did things ad hoc. He let other people create a momentum in Germany and Europe. He just wants to have anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish policies, and it starts with asking people not to shop at Jewish stores, and asking people to burn books in the streets. So he gets a really kind of clear view. He kind of dips his toe into the water. He gets a view of how potentially anti-Semitic the people in Germany can be. By 1935, we see the Nuremberg racial laws. So Jews are literally stripped of their German identity, of their German nationality. He even goes to the point, and I didn't mention this in class, girls, but remember this, he even goes to the point of removing the gravestones of Jewish German soldiers who served in France in World War I. He wants to remove any trace of their contributions to history. So later on, when he's fighting in France, there's no record of Jews having served in the German army because their gravestones are taken away. So the 35 racial laws are really significant. Jews lose their status and their place in Germany. 38 comes along, and we talk about the Kristallnacht, Reichskristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, when Jewish businesses and synagogues and shops are trashed. The SA, the Sturmabteilung, the street fighters that Hitler relied upon, the bad boys, go through the country destroying Jewish property. Again, it gives him an idea of just how much hatred there is towards Jewish people pre-outbreak of World War II. Once World War II breaks out in 1939, it becomes a different story again. So Germany expands, as we've shown on the map in class. It expands to the east, it takes in Poland, it expands into Russia. Those places are where Jews lived. There are millions of Jews in Poland and Russia. There's only a few 100,000 in Germany. So in 1939, 40, 41, he begins this policy of ghettoization. It's to identify where the Jews are. So Jews who live in the countryside are directed to move into towns. They live in sections of the town which became known as ghettos. Their conditions: overcrowded, starving, cramped, persecuted, curfews. All of those aspects become normal for Jewish people. Jewish people collaborate with the Germans because some of them think they can get a better deal. Some of them think that perhaps by being a Jewish police officer in a German ghetto, their family will be looked after. They won't suffer so badly. At which point, in the ghetto situation, you start getting liquidations, programs by which Jewish people are marched out of the ghettos into the forests. They have to dig their own graves, and then they are shot by these specifically trained SS soldiers of Hitler, and these groups are called these killing squads. They're called the Einsatzgruppen, and that they have a specific mission, and that is to racially cleanse the lands which the German armies have captured of enemies to the German state, Jewish people, gypsies. That's what their responsibility is. Now, like I said, that happens in Poland, it happens in Russia, particularly areas like Ukraine and Latvia and Lithuania. These groups work. Hitler, at which point, calls on his head honchos, his seriously bad Nazis, to have a meeting in Berlin at a place called Wannsee, where different ideas for a more efficient method of killing, basically a budget method, a cheaper method of killing people en masse, are discussed. They've tried gas vans, so they literally hooked up hoses from exhaust pipes into the van, like a removal van, packed Jewish people in there and trickled the gas into the van, and they found that was a really efficient way of killing Jewish people. And at Wannsee, in the conference in 1942, it's decided that instead of killing Jews in vans, they will kill them in these factories of death, which are going to be built throughout Poland, at Auschwitz, at Treblinka, at Chelmno, at Sobibor. They decide to build these factories with the purpose of training Jews into the death camp, exiting from the trains, and being led directly into these gas chambers, which are they're told are showers, and the Jews are told that they're being relocated to a better life. But the reality is they walk into the gas chambers, and then the Zyklon B gas is dropped into the chamber. It reacts with the water and then the vapors, and it kills quickly and en masse. The bodies are then taken down to the crematorium buildings, where they're shoved into these horrific ovens, and then the Jews are burned to destroy the evidence. It was all about, one, efficiently killing Jewish people in the eyes of the Nazis, because they were subhuman. Untermensch was the word that was given, Untermensch. So these subhuman people, and then destroying the evidence. So therefore, if you cremate them, there are no bodies, there are no burial pits, that the bodies become ash. And that was the plan, and 6 to 6.5 million Jewish people die in these gas chambers and through these killing squads in the Einsatzgruppen times in Russia. But the final solution of the Jewish problem, which was talked about at Wannsee, is the final process of a gradual and steady set of policies which are designed to eliminate Jews from regular life and ostracize them from communities, push them out, push them into ghettos, rounded up, and then into the gas chambers at the death camps, where men, women, children are killed in numbers that are unseen previously in the entirety of history. So that is the journey from the start in 1933, when the policies are anti-Semitic, through to the end in 1945, when the policies of death and destruction, the most vile crime ever committed, culminates in the discovery by the Allied soldiers of these camps, which have had millions and millions of people killed in the forests, almost undiscovered. And that's where we have the final solution. That's your Your Boy in the Striped Pyjamas is loosely based around this, but it is only loosely. The history side of things are very, very different. So go ahead, read some more on Gales, or read some more on Britannica, or watch this little tutorial again, ask any questions, and I hope you've learned a bit and enjoyed it. And part 2 of this, to support your exam, will be about Kokoda, and we'll look at how the Australians fought the Japanese on the island of Papua New Guinea in around about the same time, 1942, 1943, when Australia was threatened with invasion. So part 2 will be coming in a couple of days. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day.